David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, the breaking news coming in right now from Minneapolis. Amid the major immigration crackdown there, the announcement tonight from border czar Tom Homan, sent in by President Trump, now speaking of a drawdown, but vowing to stay until the problem is gone. It comes following the two deadly shootings of U.S. citizens, mother of three Renee Good, and ICU nurse Alex Pretti. But tonight, Homan insisting, quote, "We are not surrendering the president's mission." Inside the president's cabinet meeting today, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who the president did not call on. Matt Rivers is in Minneapolis. Also tonight, this life-threatening cold, and this evening we are now tracking this new storm that will barrel right up the East Coast. Possible blizzard conditions, snow totals right here, the watches and warnings up already tonight. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast. Tonight, the suspect who allegedly tried to get Luigi Mangione out of jail. He allegedly posed as an FBI agent, and what he showed them when he showed up at the jail. The dramatic testimony today in the double murder trial, a husband and father accused of killing his wife and another man, that the husband allegedly lured to the house himself. Tonight, Georgia elections officials now slamming the Trump administration for seizing ballots from the 2020 election more than 5 years ago. In the last 24 hours, now taking some 700 boxes away, saying they have nothing to hide in Georgia. President Trump did not win there, they say, but is repeating his claims now and saying even before this raid that there would be prosecutions. Tonight, the breaking news from Capitol Hill at this hour: to avert a government shutdown, lawmakers demanding changes on these immigration tactics. A deadly accident involving a snow plow and a van carrying a youth hockey team. A self-driving taxi accused of hitting a child in the street near a school. Tonight, hear actor Patrick Dempsey on his friend Eric Dane and his battle with ALS, what he's now revealing about his friend and their recent conversation. And America Strong tonight, look at this thermal drone camera, a dog missing for days in the storm, and how this ends tonight.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We do begin tonight with the breaking news coming in out of Minneapolis at this hour. The Trump administration signaling major changes in its immigration crackdown. Border czar Tom Homan has been sent in by President Trump, making his first public comments since taking over the operation, signaling a drawdown in his words, but vowing, quote, to stay until the problem is gone, saying they are not surrendering. Tonight, Homan is signaling plans to draw down the number of agents in the city following the deadly shootings of mother of three Renee Good and ICU nurse Alex Pretti. But even with this drawdown, Homan tonight vowing to stay in Minneapolis. Meantime, inside the president's cabinet meeting today, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem under scrutiny, some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle calling on her to step down. The president did not call on her today. ABC's Matt Rivers leading us off from Minneapolis tonight.
Tonight, the dramatic turn in Minneapolis amid escalating tensions after the shooting death of ICU nurse Alex Pretti and questions over the tactics being used here. Border czar Tom Homan, who was sent in to replace Greg Bovino, tonight announcing he will draw down some federal forces, but insisting we are not surrendering.
I'm staying till the problem's gone. I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. I come here looking for solutions.
But this new drawdown comes amid serious questions about how DHS has handled the operation here and their tactics. Agents seen storming homes, pulling U.S. citizens into the street, clashing with protesters. Tonight, Homan acknowledging mistakes.
I do not want to hear that everything that's been done here has been perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book.
It comes after the deadly shootings of two U.S. citizens, mother of three Renee Good and ICU nurse Alex Pretti. New video emerging tonight showing Alex Pretti confronting federal agents during a protest in Minneapolis 11 days before he was shot and killed. Pretti seen spitting toward an officer and kicking out the taillight of a federal vehicle. Agents getting out, grabbing Pretti and falling to the ground, but Pretti walked away, a gun visible in his waistband. Agents deploying tear gas, Pretti in the middle of the other protesters.
You okay? You okay? I'm okay.
Tonight, a Pretti family spokesperson telling ABC News they were aware of that incident too, and say Pretti was injured but did not seek medical attention. It was just blocks away from that scene that this moment got national attention. Another U.S. citizen pulled out of her car as she screamed she was disabled. And after the country saw these images, 5-year-old Liam Canejo Ramos standing in his Minneapolis driveway in his blue hat and backpack as federal agents arrested his father and took Liam into custody, new information tonight about Liam's condition. After visiting Liam and his father in a Texas detention center, Congressman Joaquin Castro telling our John Quiñones he's concerned about Liam's health and well-being.
It really is inhumane to hold a 5-year-old boy there like that. He's depressed, he's not eating well, he's asking for his mom, asking for his backpack and his hat.
The Spider-Man backpack.
That's right, yeah. He just seemed very listless and lethargic, and he should be home.
And tonight, after that startling scene at a town hall, Representative Ilhan Omar sprayed with a substance from a syringe.
Kristi Noem must resign.
As she called for Secretary Kristi Noem to resign. The DOJ releasing this image of the syringe. The suspect allegedly said, "I squirted vinegar," after being tackled. It comes after President Trump suggested to our Rachel Scott the Congresswoman did it to herself. Tonight, we learned the Justice Department has filed a federal assault charge against the suspect. Meantime, Secretary Noem facing bipartisan calls to step down. Republican Senator Tom Tillis saying, quote, "She's failing at every possible measure of the job." Secretary Noem was in a cabinet meeting today with President Trump, along with Attorney General Pam Bondi. The president did not call on either of them, and he did not address the situation in Minneapolis. And as the administration starts to draw down in Minneapolis, tonight, another federal operation ending. This one launched just 1 week ago in Maine, after scenes like this and this threat at a front door.
We're gonna come back for your whole family, okay?
No, okay, no problem.
Senator Susan Collins now saying that operation has ended after several direct conversations with Secretary Noem. Meantime, back here in Minneapolis tonight, Mayor Jacob Fry on Tom Homan's drawdown of operations, saying, quote, "I'll believe it when I see it."
And David, tonight with border czar Tom Homan on the ground here in Minneapolis, he is striking a new tone, saying he is here because mistakes have been made and he plans to fix them, but also making clear that this immigration enforcement operation is not ending anytime soon, saying, quote, "I'm staying until the problem's gone." David?
Matt Rivers live in Minneapolis tonight. Matt, thank you. We move on in the meantime to this life-threatening cold, the staggering new numbers tonight. More than 80 deaths have now been linked to this crippling storm and the brutal cold. And tonight now this new storm set to barrel right up the East Coast. In fact, watches and warnings already up at this hour. Millions of Americans bracing for another round of below-zero wind chills. And tonight we're tracking this new storm, a nor'easter, possible blizzard conditions coming with it. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast and the potential snow totals. And ABC's Rhiannon Alley takes us out onto the Hudson River right here in New York City, where Coast Guard icebreakers are now at work.
Blinding snow in upstate New York tonight, sweeping in a fresh blast of life-threatening cold for more than 150 million Americans. New York City now in the grip of its deepest freeze in 8 years.
It's so cold here in New York City that ice has started forming on the Hudson River, suspending ferry service, forcing thousands of people to find a different way into Manhattan.
The U.S. Coast Guard trying to keep up with the rapidly growing chunks of ice by deploying ice-breaking ships in New York Harbor and the Hudson River. Across the storm zone, at least 85 people have died. In southern Illinois, 23-year-old Luke Kitterman died rescuing his dog Bourbon from this icy pond. His mom calling Luke a gift, saying her son loved his animals and his family more than anything. In Arkansas, the weight of snow and ice collapsing roofs along this dock in Hot Springs. And in this rodeo arena at the Saline County Fairgrounds. Crews now racing to restore power for hundreds of thousands from Texas to Tennessee. In Nashville, this church distributing food to families now in need.
So you got a lot of people that's refrigerators of food that's spoiled and gone.
You gotta get a tow truck to come out here.
We first met trucker Darian Williams yesterday when he was stranded along an icy Interstate 22 southeast of Memphis. This morning, after a second night in his truck, he was still waiting for a tow.
I'm completely stuck. I ran completely out of fuel.
Late today, Darian's still figuring out how to get his truck moving again.
David, officials in Nashville say power might not be fully restored through the weekend or even longer. Meanwhile, here in New York City, we don't expect a break from the bitter cold until next week. David?
Incredible. Rhiannon Alley with us tonight. Rhiannon, thank you. Let's get right to WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg tracking it all again tonight for us. Hi, Lee.
Hey, David. Numbing cold here in New York City, and it even gets worse over the next 48 hours. Cold weather alerts from Texas to the Great Lakes into the Northeast. Look at the wind chills into the weekend. Sub-zero the next few mornings in New York City. Watch for frostbite, whether it's pale skin or numbing or stinging. Just stay weather aware. It'll feel like 27 Sunday morning in Miami. This sets the stage for our East Coast storm. There are winter weather alerts. Georgia all the way up to Virginia, especially the Carolinas. Up to 6 to 12 inches of snow, maybe blizzard conditions along the coast. Your day is Saturday for the brunt of this storm. The Sunday track is different. This time, the I-95 corridor, the big cities probably get spared. Coastal snows, Jersey Shore, eastern Long Island, especially for Cape Cod. Regardless, you're going to have the wind that's going to be enhancing the chill. We might even have some ice jams on the Hudson River here in the tri-state area in New York. David?
Lee Goldberg with us tonight as well. Thanks, Lee. There's news tonight involving alleged CEO killer Luigi Mangione, a suspect allegedly trying to get Luigi Mangione out of jail to break free. The suspect showing up allegedly posing as an FBI agent. Here's Aaron Katersky.
Tonight, a Minnesota man is charged with impersonating an FBI agent and trying to spring accused killer Luigi Mangione from jail. Federal prosecutors say Mark Anderson showed up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn just before 7 Wednesday night with a barbecue fork and pizza cutter in his bag and claiming he had paperwork signed by a judge authorizing Mangione's release. When the guards asked to see some credentials, prosecutors say he showed them this Minnesota driver's license, threw documents at them, and said he was carrying weapons. When the guards searched Anderson's bag, they said they found the barbecue fork and pizza cutter and took him into custody, charging him with impersonating a federal agent. There's no indication he knows Mangione or why he allegedly wanted to break him out of jail. Mangione's due to go back to court tomorrow, David, when the judge could decide whether the death penalty should be in play if he's convicted of stalking and murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. David?
Aaron Katersky tonight. Aaron, thank you. This evening in Virginia, the dramatic testimony in the double murder trial, a husband and father accused of killing his wife and another man that the husband allegedly lured to their house himself. Here's Mola Lenghi.
Tonight, the Virginia husband and father accused of double murder while he was having an affair with his family's au pair on the witness stand.
Did you have any sort of plan for what February 24th became?
No. Prosecutors allege Brendan Banfield posed online as his wife to lure a stranger to the family home for sex, and that the husband killed them both and attempted to frame the stranger so that he could be with the au pair.
Did you need to kill your wife to get her back?
Definitely not. On the stand today, the husband, who worked as an armed IRS investigator, telling a different story, claiming on that February morning in 2023, he returned home after being told by the au pair that a stranger had entered their house. The husband testifying he drew his weapon and entered the upstairs bedroom.
Almost immediately, I said police. I was holding my gun forward. I saw him do a downward stabbing stroke, and that's when I fired at him.
Body camera video shows the husband at the hospital later that morning being told his wife did not make it.
Your wife has died. Those were enormous wounds, and it's not.
There were so many.
The au pair, Juliana Perez Magalis, testified earlier for the prosecution that Banfield told her he wanted to get rid of his wife and that she moved into the primary bedroom with Banfield. This picture of them on the bedside table.
Well, prosecutors argue that Banfield stabbed his wife and that both he and the au pair shot the stranger, Joseph Ryan. Banfield has pleaded not guilty, David.
Mola Lenghi tonight. Mola, thanks. Tonight, Georgia elections officials are slamming the Trump administration for seizing ballots from the 2020 election, that election now more than 5 years ago. 700 boxes taken away in just the last 24 hours. Tonight, Georgia officials say they have nothing to hide. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, officials in Fulton County, Georgia, rattled and furious after the FBI raided their election office, seizing ballots from the 2020 election.
We do not know where our election records have been taken or what will happen to them. I don't know where they are. I don't know who has them. I don't know what they're doing with them.
Fulton County Commissioner Rob Pitts insists any honest review of the files will show only one thing, that the election was fair and that Joe Biden won.
We in Fulton County have nothing nothing to hide.
Biden won the popular vote in 2020 by more than 7 million votes, and the Electoral College 306 to 232. It was not close. But more than 5 years later, President Trump remains fixated on the election, overnight sharing a flurry of conspiracy theories, including discredited schemes implicating countries like China and even Italy in election meddling. His director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's meant to be apolitical and focused on protecting the U.S. from terrorist attacks and espionage, yesterday traveling to Georgia, where she was spotted at the scene of the FBI raid. Democrats sounding the alarm.
What the heck is she doing on the FBI serving a domestic warrant? You know, if this doesn't concern the heck out of every American, it sure as hell should.
And Democratic Senator Mark Warner, the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, says Gabbard has no place in this investigation.
To see her skulking around in a baseball cap, the picture that was posted, you never thought you could make this stuff up.
David, even if Trump had won Georgia, it would not have been enough to win the 2020 election. But President Trump has been fixated on his loss for more than 5 years, and his Attorney General Pam Bondi is now demanding the voter rolls of other states. David?
Pierre Thomas in Washington. Thank you, Pierre. There's also breaking news from Capitol Hill at this hour. The effort to avert a government shutdown. Lawmakers have been demanding changes with President Trump's immigration tactics. Rachel Scott on the Hill for us. Rachel, what have you learned?
Well, David, Senate Democrats say they have reached a short-term deal with Republicans to keep the government open for now. And just moments ago, President Trump endorsed this deal. Senate Democrats were refusing to keep the government funded until the Trump administration agreed to rein in their immigration crackdown, including requiring ICE officers to wear body cameras and remove their masks, ending roving immigration patrols, and requiring agents to follow the same rules as state and local law enforcement. This short-term deal will allow lawmakers time to negotiate those issues, David.
Rachel Scott, thanks so much. When we come back, news coming in of a horrific highway accident, a snowplow colliding with a van carrying a girls' hockey team, what we've learned. Also had a self-driving Waymo taxi hitting a child outside the child's elementary school. Actor Patrick Dempsey tonight and what he's now saying about fellow Grey's Anatomy actor Eric Dane and his battle with ALS, their recent conversation. And America's Strong, look at this tonight, a thermal drone camera searching for a dog missing for days in this storm. How this ends in a moment here. Tonight, a deadly accident on Colorado's I-70 west of Denver in bad weather. A snowplow and a van carrying a girls' hockey team from Santa Clarita, California. The girls from a 12 and under league. The van driver was killed, 8 others injured, including 5 of the children. Tonight, authorities investigating after a Waymo self-driving vehicle struck a child near an elementary school in Santa Monica, California. The child reportedly stepping out between parked cars when the Waymo car then struck. The child suffering minor injuries. When we come back here tonight, actor Patrick Dempsey tonight on his Grey's Anatomy friend Eric Dane, the actor in his battle with ALS and their recent conversation. To the index of other news tonight, actor Patrick Dempsey on his Grey's Anatomy co-star Eric Dane and Dane's health battle. Dempsey telling Parade magazine he's been in touch with Dane, who is still working despite his battle with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Dempsey saying Dane has been incredibly courageous in the face of this horrible disease and that Dane is, quote, bringing a lot of light to it in a positive way. Tonight, we mark a 20-year milestone for our friend and colleague Bob Woodruff. On this day back in 2006, Bob suffered a horrific roadside bomb attack during a reporting trip to Iraq. He suffered a traumatic brain injury, but as you all know, we witnessed his remarkable recovery. And with the Bob Woodruff Foundation, he and his wife Lee have now raised more than $189 million for veterans across this country. We love them both. When we come back tonight, that thermal drone, this is incredible, searching for a dog missing for days in the storm, and you've got to see it. Tonight, the remarkable rescue efforts, America Strong. Tonight here, the efforts across this country to save so many dogs caught out in the storm. In Michigan, on the Detroit River, a 6-month-old Australian shepherd named Stella somehow got out onto the ice hundreds of yards from land. First responders, local fire and police all answering the call, carefully making their way safely out onto that ice to rescue Stella. It was a 4-hour operation. She's safe.
We got you, Bubba.
In St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, buddy?
The fire department sharing this video. Marine Rescue Task Force leading the operation. A dog falling into a frozen pond.
Come on, big guy.
The rescue team pulling the dog out of the icy waters and onto their boat. That dog is safe tonight. In Philadelphia, an entire neighborhood coming together to look for a 1.5-year-old Bernedoodle named Benji. He'd just been adopted and ran out the front door right at the beginning of the storm. Rick Rotundo Photography and Lost Pet Thermal Drone Search jumping in to help find Benji too.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that's him.
They found him after 48 hours out in the snow, a half-mile from home.
He's got him.
And right here tonight,
Hi, David, I'm Edja.
I'm Justin.
Benji's parents, and of course Benji, and the new gate
Hey, buddy.
right at the front door.
We're just so blessed to have him back home.
Yeah, just want to thank everybody in the community for helping us get him back home.
Benji is home and looking right up at his parents there. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.